What's up? What's up?
I like the way you kind of grab it. You're like, all right. Just like
gotta
like
get fired up.
Choke out that thing.
Well, this is like the first day where I've actually felt pretty decent.
Last week you were in your sweatshirt, hat forward is the telltale sign.
Yeah.
And then just crowding the mic, just knocked out.
Understand? I don't know if you feel it. If I do have I don't wear a flat brimmed frontward, the flat brim.
Yeah.
But if you have a curved brim, some days when you're in that mood, and you just throw it on and tuck your eyes down. I guess because you don't have to make eye contact with as many people, but you kind of just you
feel like you're in a little world,
a little focused.
Yeah.
I can see how a lot of chicks do that when they go into the gym. Well, I'm sure they just have creeps.
The chicks that do that are dangerous. You probably want to stay away from them. It might be a good time, but you kind of got to stay away long term because I feel, especially like the Nike hat or whatever they want to wear, and then it's like straight covering their eyebrows low.
Yeah.
They're probably attractive, but again, it's a,
Yeah, usually it's a sign to I'm staying away. You're staying clear from that one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Touch with a 10-foot pole, they say, something like that. But,
so what's good with you, man?
Not too much. Let's talk about the drinks real quick.
Yes. Show sponsored by.
Kathy.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you. Alani New, which is brew. Damn, I didn't realize it rhymed like that. But one of their limited edition flavors. I wanted to order it for the gym, but I even checked this morning. I think because they're limited, they aren't selling to distributors like that. Or they're probably sending it to GNC and Vitamin Shop, but they're not.
Yeah.
Little guys like us can't get it. But I had a sip a few weeks ago when she brought you one, and it was really good, so I'm excited to have a full can.
I just saw y'all picked up, and Kathy, who dropped these off to us, told me she picked up one Friday, cherry slushy.
Yeah, we got the cherry slushy in, so that we finally got.
Yeah. Have you tried it yet?
Yeah, I had it. It's very good.
Very good.
It's very sweet, but it's accurate. It's kind of like Accent Sledge's blue slushy or icy thing. It's sweet, but it's not too artificial. It's a good refreshing kind of cherry flavor. It's good.
Yeah.
I feel like Alani doesn't fuck up any flavors, but it's, I don't know, some are better than others.
The only thing I get pissed about is that the can is a Red Bull size, and I'm getting charged regular price for it.
Yeah. So size matters.
That size does matter when it comes. I need liquid ounces.
You want the two fist or two hander.
I want the two hander. I want that big thing.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't blame you. Girth definitely plays a part.
Yeah.
Yeah. I do feel like you're getting cheated a little bit with the ounces.
You're at least missing 6 to 8 sips.
4 ounces you're getting 3/4. I mean, you think about a full size can, 16 ounces. This is 12. You're literally missing a fourth of your drink. You're paying the same, and it's not even wrong of us to charge the same or any store because we pay the same per case.
Yeah, no, they charge the same.
So, and I bet they're making a killing doing that because one, it kind of gives a little bit more of a cute, smaller. Obviously, a lot of the target audience is more feminine. You can drink more of it. But I'm sure, per can, what is that per case? Probably 3 extra cans they're making, I think, something like that. So, I mean, it's a money saver.
It definitely adds up because they're cranking cans.
Yeah. Kind of reminds you of those bullshit brands that underdose their pre-workouts.
Yeah.
But GYMFLO, they're taking a stand.
They are.
We're taking a stand.
We are.
Yeah, we are.
We are. We set the standard.
Yeah. We will waste our money.
100%.
For you.
Been doing that since day one. Anyways, weekend good?
Weekend was good.
Is this y'all's first weekend in your house or apartment?
Yeah. Essentially. Last weekend was still kind of partially moving in and spending boatloads at Target. But this was that first kind of weekend, settling in. A full week we've now been there. So I've gotten to kind of feel out where to run, where things are going. I'm still almost learning my kitchen because I let Maddie put away everything.
Oh, shit.
But I'm looking around anytime I need a spatula or I need a piece of Tupperware or the rice cooker or whatever. So still getting used to things. But I had the manliest, or you could call it toxic masculinity day yesterday. Listen to this. I wake up, 6-mile run. Go and crush arm workout later so I get some weightlifting in. And then I around 3 o'clock, I finally made the time and went out to Colonial Shooting Academy. Got a little bit of firing practice in.
Put some lead down the range.
Yep, put it down the range. Fired some rounds. Wasn't too I thought I'd be shabby because I haven't shot a gun in a year. since last time, like last year, I took like the handgun course, and so I was like familiar with it. And obviously, when I bought my gun, like I familiarized myself with it. But you know, I was worried I'd just be a little shaky with maybe the recoil or just like my positioning. But no, I mean, I was, I'm not any kind of sharpshooter, but I said it like because our instructor told us, most encounters happen like 16 feet, so he had us practice at 20 feet, just for like as a good security. And what he would do is he'd give us like a piece of paper, like printer size, and then put it on top of like the, person cutout that's on the board that's obviously a lot bigger.
Yeah.
So when you drop it out far and you're shooting for like that circle on the printer paper, and maybe sometimes, you're not perfect on that circle, but at least you're hitting the printer paper every time, right? And then when you bring it close, you realize, oh, like, if I'm just hitting the printer paper alone, I'm in the guy's torso every time. So, like, you're more accurate than you think, at least, like, if you really needed to.
Yeah.
Are you a sharpshooter? Could you nail the guy's shoulder or, wherever you're trying to do? No, but you're at least not too shabby. You're not all over the place. So, point is, I was glad I wasn't too rusty, and I'm looking to try and make sure I go once a month. Green Top shooting range is literally, I take a right down out of our neighborhood or a little apartment complex, and I'm there within like 4 minutes. So that's a really good spot. So I think I'm going to try and go there more often because it's less of a drive. It's basically the same price. But anyway, hope to make that a habit. But so ran, lifted weights, fired a gun, and then I had a steak later that night. Doesn't that sound like a man? Yeah, and then I fucked it.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but Doesn't that sound like a great day?
Yeah,
just doing man shit. Yeah.
By yourself.
Yeah. No, the steak wasn't cooked by me.
Oh, okay, nice.
But Maddie's stepdad makes a killer fucking steak. I don't know where he's like really into cooking, which is awesome because I feel like whenever I go to a family dinner, it's like great food.
Yeah.
And he's got the whole Traeger grill and he's smoker and all that stuff. And so he basically like smokes the steaks and then brings them in and like sears them to kind of finish them off on the outside. And they come out just so tender, well seasoned, just incredible.
Damn.
So I had that, and it was a good Sunday. Saturday, and it was a good day because I didn't have too much work to do either, so I didn't feel too stressed about getting from one place to another. Saturday was good as well. Ran 8 miles, lifted weights, did a lot of work, watched some fights. Pretty chill weekend, but got some things I needed to done.
With your, obviously everybody knows you run. You run consistently. Sometimes you run twice a day. Yeah. We're dialing in. We're coming into the marathon here soon.
Yeah.
What's changing up this week? What's your next pivot? Do you have something like that? Do you know what I'm saying? Like, what's your next change up?
The next change up.
Briefly.
Everything has
been. Don't need a book.
Yeah, no. Everything has been basically increasing as far as my volume leading into this. So, maybe like 2 weeks ago, it's mostly the same that I'm doing this week, except it's an 18-mile long run rather than 22. Or I run 8 miles this week on a Tuesday instead of 6. So it's these small changes that you just increase over time.
Yeah.
To where, maybe you only did an 8-mile run on Tuesdays. A couple weeks later, now you're doing it Tuesday and Saturday. So, just these 2-mile, 1-mile increases real slow. So I have a 22-mile long run Thursday. I'm trying to look on Sunday. That's what I thought. So here's the deal this week. It's my last kind of like big mileage week. 22-mile long run Thursday is what I'm thinking about. Wednesday, I do my double, so like a 3-mile and a 4-mile run. And then Sunday, instead of doing like one long 6-mile run, I'm doing another double, 3 miles, 3 miles. Maybe I'll merge it.
I'm sure that feels good.
Yeah, if it feels good, I'll probably just do it. Yeah, breaking it up does feel a little good. Just fatigue on the legs, just manage it a little bit. I'm expecting to be pretty sore and fatigued after the run Thursday. So I feel like Friday, my leg day might suffer a little bit.
Yeah.
So I just have to cut back, weight and intensity a smidge, but I'll still, do something, productive. But that's the big change. And then the next 2 weeks, I'm doing like a little bit of a taper into the marathon. So just, I think the next week is like 40-ish miles. So like a 13-mile drop. And then the week after that, obviously the race is on Saturday. So I don't get a full week. But I think it's like 26 miles, something leading into the marathon.
Yeah.
So something real light and easy. No more real like big runs over 8 miles. So that's the plan.
How long does it take you approximately to hit the 22-mile run?
Longer than I like. Probably, I roughly run like a 10-minute per mile pace, like give or take on most of my runs.
Yeah.
Which is something I'll talk about in a second. But so it'll probably take me close to 4 hours. Yeah. Probably give or take 4 hours.
That's fucking out there.
Yeah, it's out there.
You're packing snacks.
Yeah, plenty of gels, scoops of Overcome and Tailwind, things like that. Good, I get the vest. Yeah, it'll be a day. I
thought about you yesterday. Not in a homosexual way, but maybe I did.
Were you
just a little
clothed?
Bit. But I was out on the trail near, I don't even know what the fuck I was near. Pretty much the intersect to where the trail like stops at a neighborhood. You have to cut through a neighborhood. Then you get back on the trail. And I passed a guy on my way out.
Running.
I was like, okay, whatever. He might have been through the neighborhood. You don't know where these people are starting.
Yeah.
But he was dripping sweat then. I was like, man, he's been fucking trucking. And Skinny Your Cat, it's reminding me of you. I'm just kidding.
Shit.
Small
calves?
Yeah, small calves. Horrible, just baby steps. But anyways, I saw him crushing. I was like, man, that dude's fucking sweating his balls off. So I kept on going because I was going balls deep into the woods, into the trail. Turn around like probably 25 minutes later, I pass him again. He's closer to Richmond. He was like near Laburnum by then. I was like, oh, fuck. Dude's going to Richmond. And I make it to Richmond. I cruise around Richmond to cool down, which I can talk about my time yesterday.
Yeah.
But cooled down, rode around, just bullshitting, and then finally parked the bike, chilled there for a little bit, and I see the dude strolling through, still steady pace, coming down Rockets Landing. And I was like, fuck, that dude was out in the cut. So, I mean, where he was at, if you ran from Canal all the way out there and back, it'd be like a 15, 18-mile run.
It's about 18. Yeah. Actually, that was my turning point 2 weeks ago. Yeah. Was that exact neighborhood spot. Like, and so if he started basically around that, spot.
And when I ride the bike out there, I'm like, man, that's pretty fucking far. But to run that shit, that's different, man.
It's different. And I feel like,
because no, like riding or running, that's far out there.
Yeah, 100%. And the thing is, when you're slow, like me, and you're not an experienced runner, the longer the distance, obviously, the longer you're on your feet. And that's where I was talking to Ronnie this weekend, because I was telling him, like, my watch has a race predictor, and it tells me that, hey, you should be able to run like right at like
real time, like when you're running, it tells you.
No, like on the app. Yeah, it tells me I can run, or it says I should be able to run a 4-hour marathon if I ran like a 9:09 mile pace. But in my mind, I'm like scared of pushing the pace too hard and like, dipping in the race and just losing energy.
Should you save that towards the last 8?
So that's what you're supposed to do, is basically have negative splits as it kind of goes down, meaning like you get faster as the race goes on. But I think there's this balance to where you're conserving energy so that you don't burn out, but then you're on your feet longer. So that's the con. Pro of running faster, you're on your feet less, but you're burning more energy in that. So there's a sweet spot, I'm sure, to where I could run it faster and still have enough energy to like maintain that pace. But I'm just nervous with it. I think what I'm going to do is like set parameters on my watch as I do with like training runs, to where it'll beep and remind me like, hey, pick up the pace.
Yeah.
Or, hey, you could probably ease it off a little bit. So I think that's what I'm going to do for the race, because I think I do underestimate myself as far as how long I could maintain, let's say, a 9-minute pace and things like that. Because I look at my numbers, I look at, what I can do on a tempo run, how my heart rate is, and I feel like I'm conditioned. I know I'm conditioned and ready to like run the race. And I should be able to clear the 5-hour and run it under that pretty easily for the marathon. I think it's just more like mentally,
I think also it's, your body way more than I know mine still. And I've noticed, even with me getting structure from Ronnie, that if it's not something that's in the plan, I have a tough time. Like, before I go out on a ride, I know I'm going to ride this hour and a half. So I know I'm at least riding that. Now, if I want to go more, I'll go more. But, like, if it's not on the plan, it's tough to hold yourself. Like, let's say, for example, you setting those timers. I think that would work well for me, because if not, when that time comes and I'm like, oh, well, I don't really have to.
Yeah.
I think having some like shit set up like that, when I'm doing the intervals, it's like, oh, on that 3rd minute, I got to fucking go. Not on the 4th, not on the 3.5.
And I feel like it applies to more than just this. Hopefully people can take this away, whether it's like life or whether it's a different aspect of training. But I think it's easier, even when you're actually setting a goal and you're being proactive like that, to set something that's super attainable and like easy to achieve for you. So like if your max squat's 315, right, or something like that, and you can always hit 315, and that's all you ever shoot for. You're like, oh, I'm working up to a heavy single today, I'll do 305 or 315, but you never really push past that or really give yourself a challenge, then you're not going to get to that next level. You keep staying in that comfort zone, right? You got to push into, as Kenny Loggins would call it, the danger zone.
Oh fuck.
You know, you got to push in there sometimes. Yeah, yeah. So sometimes you do just got to like push yourself and set high standards for yourself. I mean, if you miss it, that's okay. But at least you attempt to. Like sometimes when I do these speed runs, you know, I'm shooting for. I'll give myself too broad of a range than I should. You know, I'll say, oh, anything faster than, you know, if I'm doing a progression run, so faster each like mile, I'll say, okay, anything faster than the last mile. It's like, no, I should really set like a hard, fast number and push myself to reach it. And I feel like the more I do that, not only do I feel that I'm making more progress, but I realize I'm capable of more.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And you learn your body that way, you know?
For sure.
Because right now, you know, if I didn't, I would still be out there pushing myself, but without this plan or somebody telling me like, hey, you can do this, or this is what you should be doing, like I wouldn't know where to like hit the gas and where to hold back and whatnot. So
you give yourself too much slack.
Yeah, the reins off. So it's like you're just a wild horse out there, running free, but probably running nowhere. Circles, kind of. Yeah. One thing I wanted to chip on is, it was about.
Did you get Men in Black?
I did.
About running?
No.
Good. I'm tired of that shit.
Yeah, I'll come back. But I will say, I rode. This is my first week in my training.
Yeah, I was going to ask how this went.
So, technically, it's my first week. I started midweek last week, so I didn't get a full like week's worth of structured training. But I did one interval workout on the bike, which was tough as shit. Quick, brief breakdown of that is I was supposed to be cruising for about 3 minutes, heart rate very low, just cruising, and then 8 minutes on a good pace. Like I'm huffing and puffing.
RP like 7 to 8?
Yeah. Good fucking pace.
So like 8 minutes on, 3 minutes off.
Yes, for about
4 sets.
4 sets of 44, 45 minutes with warm up and cool down. So like an hour total on the bike. I will say Ronnie set me a tempo to follow for that 8-minute range. The first round was able to hold it.
Second
round,
fuck,
3 minutes. And 3 minutes goes by like
it does,
that,
yeah.
dude.
Yeah, I've been
And
there.
I was like, oh, fuck, I got to go again. Probably at the 5 minute of the 8 minute mark, so round 2, about halfway through, I had to start dropping the tempo down. Because if not, I was just going to stop. And I was like, well, fuck, let me at least drop it down. So I was supposed to hold it at 220 watts, which is, for me, I can do it, but for 8 minutes is fucking tough. Dropped it back down a little bit, made it through that round. I was like, oh, fuck. Round 3 comes up. Went down even like another 10 watts. So I was, at the end of it all, I was probably doing 190. Yeah, and I told him, so we're readjusting moving forward, knowing that my legs can't handle that amount of endurance for that long. I can pump watts like a motherfucker, but for like a minute
But you're
straight.
right, though. When I've done interval runs where I'll do like 4 minutes on, 4 minutes off, basically, I know what you're talking about. You run that first one, you feel good, it goes well, and then you're like, all right, now I get the rest interval. You're just cruising at an easy pace, but that flies by. And by the time you're really kind of settled in, your heart rate's kind of fully down, you're just cruising, you're like, oh, I got 1 minute or 30 seconds to the next interval. Then you hit it.
Yeah.
But the good thing about it is it almost makes the workout go by faster rather than if you had a full 44 minutes at a moderate or easy pace, because you're checking that clock a little bit more. You're mentally focused during those on sessions. I feel like it goes by quicker.
Yeah. Another thing is Ronnie was, I don't know if he was measuring dicks or just making me feel like shit, but he was like, yeah, I can hold like a pace of this for an hour. I was like, fuck. I think it was like high threes or something like that. Yeah. And he was like, yeah, My other dude, who like still races professionally, is holding like a 400 watt pace for an hour.
Yeah.
Like, dude, I'd cry. I'd
well,
fucking
it puts
cry.
into perspective, and I mean that's how I feel when I look at certain people's
I'm gonna
running
start
paces.
crying.
Yeah. I'll look at someone's run. You know, it'll be like a friend of mine's like easy run, 7:06 pace per mile, like 120 beats per minute, like heart rate. I'm like, what the fuck? Like they're barely like breathing hard.
Yeah.
You know, they're not breathing at all basically, and they're just crushing. Like that's like me sprinting as hard as I can for a mile.
Life or death.
Yeah. Yeah. So there's levels to this shit.
And
sure.
I don't know. Oh, 100%, dude. And I have enjoyed it, even though it sucked. It's a good suck. And I don't know if it's maybe the training style that we're coming from, but like the bike, obviously your legs really don't get a break, and neither with running, but they get so pumped up. And that's what's killing me the most. It's not even my lungs or my heart.
Acid.
Yeah, it feels like they're about to overcooked hot dog explode wide open on the round 2, round 3, and it's just like they're just gassed, like they're pumped up. And I've never had more of a leg pump. Every time I get off that interval bike or stationary bike, the sickest pump. I can't even get a pump like that on a leg day. It's crazy, dude.
I don't get the same leg fatigue when I'm running. When I do like hard speed sessions, I get a little bit of, the legs start to get heavy.
Yeah.
But for the most part, it's more fatigue and like soreness in like my hamstrings than it is pumped up, obviously by virtue of the mechanism of running versus cycling. But yeah, it's such a different experience than lifting. I almost wish everybody could like see that, but I get why, when I was lifting, I didn't understand why people would like, run so much or, oh, what's this person doing? Like the different stuff. And now I really like, I get it. Taking a step back, you kind of see other people's perspective on bodybuilding or competing or lifting in general or powerlifting. Like we probably look at powerlifters and we're like, you're waiting 8 minutes before you hit your next set. Like that's just stupid. Like, you just eat, sit there, have your sour candy, do one lift, sit again. It seems goofy, but obviously that's just part of the culture and what works for them. And,
Yeah. And it's like the monotony of going out there and beating those miles. Like, it's just like, oh, you go out there and run mile after mile after mile.
Yeah, pretty much.
Kind of do.
Kind of do. Yeah.
One thing that was cool was Sunday, I rode, dealing with shit with the bike. That's a whole other story. But I finally got in pace with another cyclist. And I don't know how legit he was, but he passed me. And it's kind of funny because it made me...
He was 12 years old, but,
I said, fuck you, kid.
Yeah.
But his training wheels were still on. But I was a little bit slower paced coming back towards Richmond Sunday. And this guy comes beside me. I have headphones in, so I never hear anybody coming up. I just treat the road with respect and stay to the right.
It's so dangerous.
Some people, but... I mean, I do. I stay clearly out of the center. I never but there's a lot of fucks out there that either run or ride in the center or just weave in and out. God, I hate it. But anyways, this guy comes up, I see him out the corner of my eye. He's going a few miles an hour faster than me. I was like, oh shit, all right. So I pull up behind him and I'm like cruising, tail drifting behind him, drafting.
You're the asshole with the high beams on behind him right on the
highway. He did cut back and look at me like twice.
Oh shit.
But it was like a respect thing because we got to a stop. Well, we got to a stoplight. And he was like, "Hey, man, we just shot the shit." And he was like, "Where you riding from?" Anyways, I hung with him.
No, man, CrossFit.
CrossFit.
Yeah.
But it was fun to be able to have somebody with a pace and seemed like he knew what he was doing and he was hauling ass for sure. And it gave me like a little edge or a little fire to be like, damn, maybe I would want to compete at least in a race to see how it would go because I felt that immediate fire of like wanting to keep up with. I don't even know the fucking guy. I just wanted to keep up with him. And I feel like you could get that with a marathon. When you're out there with other people, you're like, oh, fuck, let me hold this pace. Even though it might not be sustainable. I don't know. I felt an edge to, like, be a little competitive. And I was like, fuck.
Yeah, anytime I pass people out there that aren't cyclists, walkers, obviously, they're just enjoying a day. Runners, they're either way fucking better than me, like just skinny frame, cruising, just flying up the mountain or like the mountains, the hills and things like that, easy. Or I have the occasional maybe person who's like slower than me or around my pace. Usually they're going in the opposite direction though.
Yeah.
It's really rare, honestly, that I run into many like runners.
Mm-hmm.
It's mostly cyclists, but I mean, it is like a cycling trail. So
yeah,
that makes
it is.
sense, but
I think one cool thing to end off my conversation about my ride is I noticed, I guess this guy, he's an older guy, probably in his like late 40s, skinny rail guy, obviously cyclist looking, typical cyclist. And I'm sure he saw me. He's like, oh, this fucking guy monkey riding a bike. Fucking.
you do. I told Ronnie that you were the meathead of cyclists because you got the 2 shakers in there.
Yeah.
You got like the cutoff of the stringer going on. It's just straight bro, straight bro. They're like this fucking
I
guy.
do not fit in at all.
No.
And but going downhill when I was tailing him, I was not pedaling at all. And it's just like the difference of weight on a bike. I was not pedaling at all. And I was gaining on him as he was pedaling down. Like I could tell he was giving an effort going downhill, and I was just tucked in, rolling. And it's like I'm just a meatball rolling down a hill on that thing.
Yeah.
And I like that's where my advantages come in. I think it's any type of downhill grade. The bike, obviously, weight pushes the bike that much faster, but uphill, and it was a good day. It was a good day, good pace.
The uphills are tough.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that they prepare me for the Richmond Marathon since there's not too much elevation because I was like thinking about it Saturday. There's 4 very distinctive inclines that I can think of like total, like 2 or 3 going out, 1 I guess coming back, but there's 4 distinctive like straight inclines basically that I'm running on. And I think the worst I'll deal with is a little bit of a decline, then back incline. There's like one brief spot on the elevation chart for the race. So hopefully I'm just more conditioned than I need to be for that stuff. Because my worry is, again, hamstring or just overall leg muscle fatigue is what gets me after 18 miles. So if I can just prolong before that fatigue hits, I'll be in good shape.
Yeah.
Let's see if I feel like I wrote down something. Oh, yeah. I wanted to shout out Miles. He was on the podcast recently for competing this past weekend. Thought he did a great job.
Yeah, he looked great.
Yeah, and he's got a big competition coming up this weekend, Saturday.
Yeah.
I didn't know they were back-to-back.
I forgot. I know he mentioned it because
I knew they were close. I just didn't know they were back-to-back.
But I'm excited for him. And most importantly, I think it's just I know that he wants to go out there and place well at the summer shredding out at Alpha Elite, but I think it's just cool, an experience that would be something you could remember flying out there, seeing that new whole fucking building and like all the people that are going to be out there. Yeah, Disney World. Yeah, literally. And all the faces you'll probably see, social media people. It's just, I mean, I guess you could relate it to maybe like going to the Arnold or something like that, but actually competing in it, There's going to be a lot of people looking at you. Yeah. So I hope he does well, and I know he will, but because he looks sharp.
But something I thought about from his posts and stuff over the weekend was just about competing. How a lot of times, I'm sure you've heard it, people say it all the time, is, whether placings were good or bad, they'll be like, oh, bodybuilding is a lot of politics, right? And I've always thought about, I understand what they're saying, but it's almost like, why can't we change that? If we know there's an issue with politics and all, we got to take steps to actually improve that judging rather than just throw it away. It's kind of like when people say, well, the government always, fucks us over. They don't listen to us. It's like, well, maybe we should vote or,
yeah, I get it.
Get some people who are actually going to do shit rather than just place takers or, make a change of some sort or make an effort to make a change rather than just, well, how it is, Because nothing's ever going to change if you just chalk it up to politics or
it doesn't
drama or whatever.
And I believe, and it's going to be tough because I was about to say, oh, well, since this isn't an organization at Summer Shredding, it should be less political. But if somebody who's to show up that is really good friends,
social media, I'm sure, is even more.
That's
political.
what I'm saying. Somebody that follows or Christian follows or whoever the judges that I know that
whenever
person.
There's money involved,
It's kind of fucked regardless because it's not like weightlifting where it's like, oh, he clearly lifted it up and put it down successfully. It's just, hey, did you look good that day? Did I like the way you look?
Subjective stuff gets interesting.
And if I know you and I like the way you look, I'm probably gonna pick you most likely. Even though I'm trying to be unbiased, like there's an involuntary
bias,
oh, I know Brock and he looks pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah, I get that for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, I don't know how else you could do it unless it's like a random scorecard, like they're picking like from the audience
That's the thing
or some
too.
shit.
I mean, there's like an objective element too, because they aren't creating scores. But that's more just to help them like number the placings, you know, more than I feel like anything. But yeah, I just didn't know if you had any thoughts about that. 'Cause that was just something I was thinking about over the weekend.
Definitely, and I'm gonna be that guy. At my last show, I'm not sure if it was political, which I don't really. I hate to say, I almost sound like Miles. I didn't really care to even bodybuild to begin with, to get on a stage. So like I didn't care how I placed, but at the end of the day, I wanted to place good since I was competing. And I remember looking back at the pictures after the show, because I don't remember what second place looked like in my class. I knew for a fact when I first showed up and we were in line, all the light heavyweights, and I saw this one cat, I was like, yo, that guy's going to fucking smoke everybody here. He's going to smoke me, way past me, leagues past me. And I didn't really see, I mean, I saw other couple people. I was like, oh, I'll probably be right beside this guy, that guy. And after it all, I came in third, and I looked back at who second was, and it was this old fuck. Respect to him for competing, but he looked like a water buffalo, bloated as fuck.
Yeah, and
it's like, who did he maybe know?
Yeah,
which I heard that he was local.
At my show that I did like 2 years ago, I remember everyone from a specific team was getting like first, second. And when I've talked to Sarah Buckley too, and she's had a bunch of shows, same kind of deal, to where it's always, the girls that are on this team that are getting first, or, even silly stuff like the judges are picking girls who are wearing like red, competition suits or something like that. Like, it's so goofy. But I feel like it puts people off with bodybuilding, especially when people put so much into competing, And at the end of the day, even though you do all that you can, it's still out of your hands,
It is. And there comes a point where it's like, and maybe I'm talking on my ass because I'm not a competitive bodybuilder, but like, besides genetics, are you knowing, and like you should know that from the get-go before you even get on gear, or before you even start like hiring coaches, you should, most of the time people will let you know, oh man, you got a great physique, like you could be a bodybuilder, you look like a bodybuilder without even really lifting. Most of those pros bodybuilding big timers, like you could tell when they were 17, 18, 19, they were fucking physique on them, Yeah. But besides that, you have to just, and who am I to talk, but you have to do the work to be like undeniably the winner, like being undeniable, like to where it's like, oh fuck who like this guy is the
people
fucking
are screaming bloody murder. It's so obvious.
But it takes time, takes a lot of consistency, effort. You can't just compete in one show and expect to be like undeniable, unless you're just the freak of freaks, you know. Yeah. So. But who am I? I've only done 2 shows and mediocre.
I know, we're just a bunch of losers.
I'm an average homeboy.
Fucking suck at cycling, suck at running, suck at lifting.
Oh, I'm slow as shit, man. Slow as shit.
I know. Updates with GYMFLO.
Yeah. So we should have some samples. I went ahead and put a deposit down. We have GYMFLO fucking pump. I've said it, probably said it multiple times before this, but put the deposit down, which is a huge mark or a milestone, because that means the ball is in action. Now, the ball may take some time to get to us, but it's in action. Hopefully having things pop off within the first quarter of the year, because it's definitely not going to happen before the end of the year. Sucks to say that, but it is what it is. But we have some more samples coming in to hopefully nail down this last flavor that I think I'm the only one that brought up issues about it, but I think maybe I just wasn't tasting the right shit.
I'm standing by the first sample.
But cool
we'll
thing
try
is,
again.
I got 2. So I got the original.
Hope. Yeah.
I got the original, and I told him, I was like, yo, give me one that's just going to bang, that's
like
gonna bang.
any flavor?
No, it's a bluish.
Still bluish.
Bluish. Okay. Can't tell him the whole thing.
Yeah, I get it.
But it's bluish, and I'll tell you after. But he says these 2 are undeniable, and if you put them together and let them fuck, they're gonna have a little crazy baby pop out.
Little blue orgasm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see. But yeah, that's the update with that. Anything else? Am I forgetting something?
No.
Keep your eyes out on Freaky Friday deals. We got one more left.
Yeah, one more left. Black Friday's coming around the corner, so keep eyes peeled.
Mm-hmm.
The gym is keeping on. We're waiting on our fucking machines from Arsenal Strength.
Yeah.
That's all we can do till now. But we're coming up officially on our 1 year on the 1st, so excited about that.
That is awesome.
Other than that, swing by, sign up, get a day pass, anything like that.
Yeah.
But that's going to be it.
I felt like I had one last thing to talk about. But I guess I don't. Not for today. All right, guys. Let us know what you thought about these.
If you have any question about our trainer or a way that we can relate it, better to what you guys are doing,
Yeah. Find something, get uncomfortable, and try and figure out a way to move it forward.
Fuck yeah.
Mm-hmm. We're out. See ya.